Hi DSA coders, I just want to do a real quick video here for you on this smoke testing. The idea here is to learn tricks to help us assure our code runs and does not crash. And that's no easy task. I've received a lot of code over the years. A lot of it has crashed, and it's unfortunate because you're not going to be able to deliver a very good grade or anything. It's the whole purpose of software is to have that it runs, right? So we want to make sure our code runs. No matter how great our logic is, if we have a showstopper bug in there, um, it's not going to run, and that's a bad thing. So there's tricks to making to eliminating these kinds of bugs, these big, gnarly, mean bugs. This is our challenge. All right, so there's 4 chapters really here, and very short one. Here's a very short one here. 30-second read. This one here is kind of theory on that. If you just want to glance through that, get an idea of that. This kind of tells you what these showstopper bugs are about. Um, this one here kind of gives you an idea of what we're doing. I would give that a read. And then I would actually pull up that, make sure it runs in your IDE. Should be ready to run. All right. Now this one here, then we get into, this is where the challenge is. We pop in there, and you can find the challenge there, and you can, the same, this will go to the challenges as well. So there's a challenge, and then there's an example that these challenges follow very, very closely. So I would work through that example. Everything is here through you step by step by step. I'm not going to bore you with going through that by detail. I'm going to do it in the IDE, and then later on you can go through the step-by-step part here. So I'll go kind of fast in the IDE, maybe. I might not even go fast enough for you. I'm not sure, but I'll do the best I can. Not to waste your time. The first thing I want to do is look at warnings. Warnings in the unit, and our unit is city.java. So um, warnings a lot of times hide bugs. We're not talking about compiler errors. We're talking about compiler warnings. So this is our file, our city file. All right, that we're working on. We're trying to eliminate the bugs in. All right, so it says the parameter of name is not used. NM is not used. So we have a parameter here that's come in. We're basically ignoring it, and that's a case where a user has sent us a parameter, probably for a reason, right? And we're just ignoring it. Well, that's usually an indicator of a problem. If we're ignoring a variable, that's a parameter, that's an indicator. And you can see we have an IVAR here. So it's pretty obvious that we just didn't set the name there, right? And because this is our model, we would know what the bug was right away. All right, we've got rid of the warnings. That's kind of the beginning of it. I should say that's kind of a prerequisite. Now we're really getting into what we're going to be doing here. This showstopper bug, these bug searches. First bug. Model geography cannot be resolved. Well, if you look into that write-up as well, we'll see that this is actually the expected directory structure. We have geography there, and we have city.java. Geography, city.java. Let's remember that. Now, if we go back here and look, it's telling us it cannot resolve that. We have, in our packages, we have my geography. So this happens a lot, and that causes a big problem. So we're going to change that my geography. Usually I would not uncheck this. I'm going to uncheck it just because I want to do some of this manually. But we want to correct that word there, or that package name. That's all we're doing there. All right. So we're still having a problem. What's our next problem? Now city cannot be resolved, right? So now we look back to our unit. We had a naming problem. We called it my city. It's not my city, it's city. And that, when you get a name wrong, it seems maybe minor if we're writing a report, if we're writing a narrative literature, that might be minor, but in coding, things are very exact. So we've got to change that to city. There we go. And of course, in the file itself too, my city is not going to work. So I'm going to change all those references to, what are we going to change it to? Replace all to city. All right, so we got through that one. Still that same line, there's another showstopper error. Now what's it telling us? It's saying that city is not visible. Okay, let's go back into the unit or the model here, city. Not visible. This happens actually a fair number of times, and it's a showstopper. We forgot the word public. When we're delivering code, we're delivering it to the public. We're not private is for us. I mean, we can use private if only we're using it, but we're delivering it to somebody else. They're going to be in a different package most likely, etc. So that needs to be public. So we forgot that one little word and it killed it. It was a showstopper, a blocker bug. So we save that, we go back, that error is gone. So we're past a few showstopper bugs. We're doing pretty good. Now we have another one here. Another visibility issue. New instance is not visible. It's telling us new instance. Okay, so new instance is not visible. Right here is new instance. Protected. Again, we're missing public. We accidentally put protected there. It seems minor, but again, we're sharing our code with public, with somebody else. So that needs to be public. Now we're down to no errors. We got through those showstopper errors quickly. All right. Now the last thing we do is we run it and see what happens. All right, we got some errors. Whenever we have a null pointer exception, that means that a variable is null. And when we have a line number, us we coders, that's gold to us, right? If we have a line number, we have a fighting chance to get the bug. So line number 16, we have a null pointer. Line 16, null pointer. There's only one variable used on line 16, right? City. So city must be null. Well, where was city assigned? City was assigned on this line, which means this is the thing that derived city, right? This must be returning a null. Let's go take a look. There's the method. And sure enough, we just forgot to code it. Maybe we were going to do it later or something. We forgot to code it, so it's a null. So we want to just finish that up. And it tells us up here how we can finish it. So we're just going to call a helper method here. And let me know if you have any questions on how we fix any of these bugs. Email me and we'll talk about it. So it says unnamed. Just use unnamed here. It tells us. We're going to just fix this really quickly. It tells us there's 0, 0, right? All right. So what did I do? I did not return. That would be better if we did that, right? Now the error's gone away. Okay. Now we run it again. Still get an error at a different location. Line 37 of the city. Again, it's the null pointer. So there's a variable on line 37. Line 37. That was in this file here. We go to line 37. And the only variable that could be null, it would be that one right there, right? Because that's what we're pointing to there. That pointer dot is also called a pointer. This must be null. That's our. If we go up here, that's a IVAR, so that must be null. It must never have been initialized. So what do? We initialize it before we use it. What kind of object is it? Well, in Java, we can easily derive that because it's a typed language. So it's that kind of object. And we're going to do that blank, just a new instance there to construct the object. Now, that looks a little better. Let's give it a run. We get a clean run. So we fixed about, I don't know, half dozen, something like that, showstopper blocker bugs. And now our code is runnable. We submit our code. It may not be perfect because we want to do more testing really, but just this little minimal amount of testing at least gives us running code. And that's a big part of the battle. So that's a little quickie on Showstopper Challenge. And again, everything that I just talked about is step-by-step in here with these highlighted labels and things like that. So I would go through that quite a bit, as much as you can. This assignment, it's really going to help you. If you go into the field, it'll help you. It'll help you in other classes. It's a generalized approach. It's a generalized trick, if you might say. This one is also a good one to go through. We'll have a quiz coming up, I think, that will include some of that. And I'll let you know about that later. But anyway, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.